Hello everyone, I am Harshita and today I am going to discuss about our project. Our project is Smart Attendance System using NFC modules, supervised by Dr. T. Kamleshwar, MTech PhD, and presented by our teammates are D. Bhargavi and G. Jagadish. And the contents of our project are abstract, objective, introduction, literature review, design and methodologies, standards and policies used, implementation, testing, input and output, including demo video, YouTube URL, conclusion, future enhancements, web references link, references, plagiarism report of PPT, and poster presentation. Firstly, we are starting about abstract. Mainly, our project is based on IoT domain, and when we see the modern technologies, we use attendance based technologies in many institutes and many organizations. So nowadays the updating system with necessary information of Internet of Things is developing subject to create wonderful working of the present future service. So smart attendance using NFC and Node MCU with the intelligent environment as a human-computer interaction. Our project is mainly based on NFC and Node MCU. NFC is near field communication and Node MCU is microcontroller unit. When the NFC reader is connected to the Node MCU, which has multiple connectivity modules like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth and GSM. When the student's tag is recognized by the NFC reader of the faculty, the attendance will be recorded to the faculty's mobile phone. And when we see the objectives are aim of the project and scope of the project. The main aim of the project is some are taking attendance manually using the old paper or file based approach. So to overcome that, we have some biometric techniques, and maintaining the attendance is very important in all the institutes. So every institute has own method in this regard. So to overcome that pen and paper based or file based, we came up with a new technology. So the scope of this project is that it is taking a long time to stand in a queue to take the attendance or to register their biometry or attendance. To overcome that, we have a key authentications and image processing technique we are going to use. And coming to the introduction, the concept behind smart attendance system is to take the attendance of students or employees in college or any university or any other companies or any organizations. Physically, participation can be effortlessly controlled. Old stamping techniques are repetitive and tedious. So to overcome that, it is very hard to confirm one by one student in classroom whether the verified students are really reacting or not. So when the NFC tag is touched to the NFC reader, the attendance is recorded and the data collected by the Node MCU is sent to the cloud by Wi-Fi connectivity. For this, we are going to use the cloud called ThinkSpeak. And coming to the literature survey, we have collected some of the papers regarding our project. And here we can see some of the papers like sensors enable smart attendance system using NFC and RFID technologies. RFID is radio frequency identification. This is from International Journal of New Computer Architecture and Their Applications, IJNCAA. And the next one is image based intelligent attendance logging system. This is IEEE technical paper. And the next one is access control and management system based on NFC technology by the use of smartphones as keys. Now going to design and methodologies. For this project, we have 5 modules. First module is about student data acquisition and identification. First, we are going to count the total number of students, and next enrolling the NFC tag, taking NFC tag ID. In student data acquisition and identification, we have 5 steps. First step is we are making the connections. First, connect the Node MCU with NFC modules using jumper wires. Next, give the connections from Node MCU board to the NFC modules. The connections are as follows: GND-G, RxTXT, TXRxT, and VVVCC to PC or laptop. Step 3. In step 3, the laptop Arduino IDE is opened and run the program. Next, we are going to open the ThingSpeak channel. We are going to create a channel in ThingSpeak and we are going to open that in a private view. In step 4, connect the Node MCU with Wi-Fi network. Create by selecting My Channel. Next, in the step 5, the result of the project shows when the graph is at 0 position, it indicates that the student is absent, and when it is at 1, it indicates that the student is present in the class. Module 2. Attendance Data Generation. Touch NFC tag on the NFC reader for attendance. Module 3. Attendance Data Processing. Branch, semester, time, date, all are recorded in the ThingSpeak channel. Total number of students present, present student list, absent student list, and location where the attendance is taken, all are noticed. And export the data by selecting Export Recent Data. Download the required data file on the pop-up in an Excel sheet format. And Module 4. Cloud Storage and Retrieval. Connect the data from IoT device like Node MCU. Connect the IoT device with cloud. Update the data to the cloud. Module 5. Report and Visualization. Retrieve the data from the cloud. Report generation. The report is generated from the ThingSpeak channel and it is updated to the cloud. The result of this project is 0. When it is at 0, the student is absent, and when the graph line indicates 1, that the student is present. And when we move on to standards and policies, here we have used identification cards and integrated circuits with contacts, numbering systems, and registration procedure for application identifiers, computer hardware, peripherals, and identification cards. Implementation. We can implement this project by using different types of diagrams and different types of sketches. And in our project, now we are going to implement using 5 types of diagrams. They are architecture diagram, data flow diagram, ER diagram, sequence diagram, and collaboration diagram.
Now I am going to explain the architecture diagram of our project. It consists of NFC tag, NFC reader, data storage, and analytics, data visualization. NFC reader is connected to the Node MCU, which has multiple connectivity modules like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and GSM. NFC reader will take the input from NFC tag, which are pre-enrolled in the Node MCU. When the student tag is recognized by the NFC reader, the student attendance will be recorded and data is sent to the faculty's mobile phone. The collected data is stored in the cloud called ThingSpeak Cloud, and the access should be only with the faculties. And we can see the attendance status in a spreadsheet. Now coming to the data flow diagram. Actually, data flow diagram is a step-by-step process. It consists of 7 steps, which includes collection of data, reading the NFC tag, checking the status, updating the Excel, testing the data, storing data in cloud, getting the output. The first step, the collection of data. It will collect the data of a student such as ID number, year, department, etc. The next step is NFC tag. NFC tag is when it is touched to the NFC reader, it will direct to the information of a student which are pre-enrolled in that. And the next step is checking the status. It's like verifying the status of a student, whether the respected student is present or not. And the next step is updating the Excel. Based on the status, the Excel sheet which we used for getting the output. And the next step is testing the data, whether all the information is correct or not. We are going to test the data in testing the data. And the next step is storing the data in the cloud. All the collected data like student present or absent information is stored in a cloud called ThinkSpeak Cloud, and we will get the output in a spreadsheet. Next, ER diagram. An ER diagram specifies relationship that can exist between entities. As in our entity diagram, you can see the entities like student attendance, courses, classes, departments, subject. It specifies the relationship between two entities like as you can see students. There student classroom name ID or sum of entities or specified, and there is a relationship between all those. And the next is sequence diagram. Sequence diagram is a type of interaction diagram because it describes how and in what order. As you can see in our diagram, there is a student login and database, student homepage, classroom, attendance form. Firstly, the student, when they enter the classroom or the office, they have to enter the login details. If he gives the login details correctly, he will go to the student homepage. If he gives the wrong information like wrong login details, he again redirected to the login page. After successful completion of login details, he will go to the classroom and attendance will be updated in the login details. After that, it will matches the NFC tag. If it is correct, the login details is correct, and the student enters the class in a right time, it will use the present. As you can see the sequence diagrams here. Now coming to the collaboration diagram, it is also known as communication diagram. These diagrams can be used to portray the dynamic behavior of particular use case and defines the role of each object. As you can see, there are some four diagrams. First one is student, instructor, roster and attendance log. These are interconnected to each other like student and the instructor and the attendance log. Now we are going to see about the testing. Our project consists of mainly 5 testings, which include unit testing, integration testing, functional testing, white box testing, black box testing. Now you can see one by one. First one is unit testing. It prevents the errors and bugs in code. The program is damped into blocks and every element is tested separately. As you can see, we have taken the details of a student. Can see here the location, the date and time when the attendance is taken. Next, coming to the white box testing, it is a software testing method used for testing within the interior structure or design of the item being that will be understand to the tester. Data domains together with inner or internal boundaries will be better tested. As you can see, in the ThinkSpeak Cloud, we are going to create some channels. The channel should be like private and public view. In the channels, we are going to see the status of a student. Here we can see the number of channels created and all the information. Next is black box testing. No knowledge of implementation is required for black box testing. It are often referred as outer or external software testing. It's functional test of the software, and this testing are often initiated on the premises of requirement specification document. You can see the spreadsheet. In the spreadsheet, we got the output of some of the student and its status. If the student is present, it will give the 1, and if the student is absent, it will give the 0. As you can see in black box testing, we'll see the spreadsheet and output of our project. Now coming to the input and output, we are going to give some input to our project, like in the node MCU. First we are going to give input like 0, and you can see here the location and the time. Now coming to the output, as you can see, we have given the input as 0. It's shown the red line at the 0 position. It shows the student is absent, and here you can see the location. It shows where we have taken the attendance. It will show that location. Thank you.
This is the demo video and URL link of our project, which we have uploaded in the YouTube. Conclusions: it mainly saves time and cost when compared to the conventional method of taking attendance. It also reduces paperwork and auto-generate various types of reports of attendance. The main motive behind developing this system is to eliminate all drawbacks which are associated with manual attendance. Future enhancements: this project has very vast scope in future. With the proposed software of database space manager is ready and fully functional, the client is now able to manage and run the entire work in a better way. Future scope of this project is discontinue of particular student, eliminate potential attendance, barcode reader based attendance system, individual attendance system using student login. These are the web references and video links. These are the references in IEEE format which are related to our project, which we have taken from the stats data, introductory statistics, general of new computer architecture and their appliances, sensors and transducers. Poster presentation. This is the poster presentation of our project as we have discussed from the beginning. Finally, we have placed like a poster. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Bhargavi Deka. Our project is Smart Attendance System using NFC modules. Now I am going to explain the components and connections of our project. It consists of NFC tag, node MCU, NFC reader and ThinkSpeak Cloud. Firstly, NFC reader is connected to the node MCU, which has multiple connectivity modules like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth and GSM. NFC reader will take the input from the NFC tag, which are pre-enrolled in the node MCU. When the student tag is recognized by the NFC reader of the faculty, the student attendance will be recorded and data is sent to the faculty's mobile phone. The collected data is stored in the cloud and the access should be only with the faculty. And now we are going to upload the code in Arduino IDE. Here we are not using any algorithm, just we are verifying the code and compiling the code. Manually taking and maintaining the attendance record was very inconvenient task. Traditionally, student attendance are taken manually by using attendance sheet given by the faculty members in the class, which is a time-consuming event. Moreover, it is very difficult to verify one by one student in a large classroom environment with the distributed branches whether the authenticated students are actually responding or not. The ability to compute the attendance percentage becomes a major task as manual computation produces errors and also wastes a lot of time. And in all these methods, persons have to wait for a long time in making a queue at the time they enter the office or the classroom. Many biometric systems are available, but the key authentication is same. Here you can see the code is compiling. It uses 35% of the dynamic memory and the maximum of 81,920 bytes. After compilation done, we are uploading the code to the node MCU board. The node MCU board is connected to the CO3 port. Now you can see the code is uploading. While uploading the code to the node MCU board, we are going to remove some of connections like RxD and DxD from the NFC reader to avoid the disturbance, because While uploading, these two connections create some disturbance and stops uploading the code. So this project has very vast scope in future, as it eliminates all the drawbacks of existing system like proxy and time consuming. Here you can see the percentage of the code uploaded after it is done 100%. We are going to store the data into a ThinkSpeak cloud. Let's see for some time after uh, to upload the code, and it is done uploading. Now it is stored in a ThinkSpeak cloud. ThinkSpeak cloud is used to store the data. We should create a account in this channel. Basically there are two views in this, private view and public view. We are going to create some channels, and it consists of here we created for some of students. In channel location we can see the location of the channel. In add visualization we can see the status of a student. In the channel status we can see the entries and the last entry and when it is created.
Here we have a coded for the two cards. Those are 33 and 173. The first student is 33 and the second student is 173. For connecting Arduino to ThinkSpeak, we use API keys. In ThinkSpeak, which API keys we are using for generating, also when there is a change in coding, then we have to replace with the same API key. Which Wi-Fi we are using, that SSID password should be entered. When we open a serial monitor, it shows that timeout waiting for a card. This means that is waiting for the card. When we touch the NFC tag to NFC reader, the attendance is recorded. Now here we can see that I have touched the card. The card number is 173. When we read a card, the customer name, ID number, UID length, UID value will be shown. When we read the card of the first customer, it is in waiting. In this waiting time, the attendance will be recorded in the ThinkSpeak. With the proposed software of Database Space Manager is ready and fully functional, the client is now able to manage and run the entire in a much better, accurate and error-free manner. The future scope for this project is discontinue of particular student, eliminate potential attendance, barcode reader based attendance system, individual attendance system using student login.
And when we again open the serial monitor, it shows that timed out waiting for a card. This means that the serial monitor is waiting for the card. And when we again read the card, now I have read the card of customer 2 of NFC tag to the NFC reader. And now we can observe the changes in the ThinkSpeak channel. Now the attendance is recorded for field 2 chart, that means student 2. At 16:43, that means at 4:43 I have recorded the attendance of the student 2. From this we can infer that when the attendance is recorded at 1, the student is present, and when the attendance is recorded at 0, the student is absent. And again when we open the serial monitor, it shows that timed out waiting for a card. It means that it is waiting for another student's identity card to read. So again when we are reading the cards of the customers or students, there we can find the UID length, UID value and the identity card number. That means the student's identity number. So there we can see that again the attendance is recorded for student 2, and again we can observe the changes here. The graph is now changed, and there we can see all the total entries, like for how many students, for how many days, or for how many time intervals the attendance is recorded. And when we are going to update the attendance, there we can see the changes in the entries, that the entries are changing for multiple times. When we are going to update the attendance for field 1 chart or field 2 chart, the entries are also getting changed. And when we see the channel settings, there we can change the name, field names and channel names, etc. And when we go to the API keys, there we can generate new API keys. When we generate the new API key, this should be replaced in the code. That generated API key should be used, and when we see the data import and export, we can extract these Excel files like the data of the students, and we can store it in our cloud storage.